Welcome to Epilogue Podcast, the show where we discuss some stuff that happened on a different show ages ago which nobody really cares about anymore.
Hi, I'm Portponky.
And I'm LeBloc.
Today we're discussing Deep Space Nine, Season 3, Episode 3, House of Quark. After Quark is involved in the accidental death of a Klingon, he becomes embroiled in a political dispute on the Klingon homeworld. So, what did you think?
I like this episode a lot. It was a lot of fun.
I thought you might. Because, yes, it is fun.
I love what they did. They took something that we already know about Klingons. They're really big on honor. And then they start us off with something that makes sense. Okay, this guy wants his brother to have died in honor. But then we find out there's more to it than that. That guy was trying to craft a narrative to take advantage of someone. And then we find out Klingon law involves honor. It's just really well done. Fleshes out the Klingon some more while building on stuff we've seen, and a lot of fun along the way.
Yeah, it was a great idea to have Quark and Rom visit Kronos because they are probably the last people who would want to go there. They just don't mix with the Klingons at all.
Yeah, this was a great episode for Rom to return.
Yeah, poor Rom. He had a dodgy time. Quark got married, also divorced.
I'm glad they didn't drag that scene out. It was pretty obvious what was happening right away.
Yeah, none of the Klingon things go on for very long. They don't seem to have much time for formalities.
Yeah.
Divorce is just punch in the face and one line and then spit on them. That would really help, I think, in modern Earth.
To lower the divorce rate?
Just to simplify things.
Oh, okay.
No more protracted legal battles.
I thought you were trying to preserve the sanctity of marriage.
What, by making it a 10-second job to divorce someone?
Yes, exactly.
How would that protect marriage?
I think a lot of people would never go through with it if they had to slap someone in the face and then spit on them.
I don't know.
That's a lot different than having a lawyer send papers to someone.
Okay. I guess, but people would. I mean, anyway, I don't know if it's just the woman that hits the man. I think I'm all for equality, but I think if it was a guy punched a woman in the face and then spat on her, that's not cool. Well, maybe it's cool in Klingon culture. They seem to be fairly up on the getting violent.
I think they're equal opportunity for violence.
Yeah. Although they are quite patriarchal.
But the females do have some rights. We saw, I don't know her name, exercise. Yes, her. Exercise some rights in this episode. That was nice to see her kind of game the system.
She's a good character. All the characters are good. Klingons are great fun. This episode was fun, and I found myself laughing at it at multiple points. Probably my favourite joke bit was when Quark's talking him through the financial dispute. And all the Klingon guys have little pads and they're all looking at him, and Quark's talking about spreadsheet columns. And they're all like staring at these tiny little iPhones.
Yeah, it was a good gag.
And this was the first time Gowron has shown up in Deep Space Nine. The High Chancellor of the Klingon Empire.
By the way you worded that, I'm assuming he'll show up again.
Well, I cannot confirm or disconfirm that, but seriously, Klingons, leader of the Klingons, oh, look at him. He's got the scary, staring eyes that look straight through the screen into your soul.
And his head bulges slightly. He doesn't look like the other Klingons.
Yeah, he has a really big bulge. He's very manly, I guess.
They're big on bulges in Klingon culture.
Yeah, the more sort of swollen and ridgy your forehead is, the more manly. That's like chest hair to them. So I think we can both agree the Klingon stuff was a lot of fun.
Yes, agreed.
So we should talk about the B plot then. O'Brien and Keiko having some difficulties.
And O'Brien's solution is to build an arboretum. And didn't she reject that idea in the beginning?
Yeah, I think she did.
So maybe with some time, he thought she would come around.
Well, yeah, I don't know. Don't blame O'Brien. He's trying his hardest.
Oh no, I'm not blaming him. He's a model husband. He made up that day, that holiday, and was all charming about it.
Yeah, he used sexual magnetism on her. It was moderately effective. He did a lot. I felt really bad for him.
Is this an attempt to write Keiko off the show?
Maybe.
That's how I read it.
It kind of.
But O'Brien is a main character, and if they just ignored Keiko and pretended she was still on the Deep Space Nine, it would be weird if we never saw her. So it's a better idea to write her off.
It wouldn't be that weird. We go episodes without seeing her. O'Brien goes weeks without seeing her, apparently.
That line just gets more and more strange, especially in this episode. He says something about rearranging his work schedule so he could see Keiko more, and I thought, wait, you never did that until now?
He's moving stuff to times when he should be sleeping or eating or something. Oh, but he doesn't eat because he only eats rations.
He figured out how to eat rations in his sleep.
Drink coffee. It's good that they tackled the subject of people wanting to make something with their lives and how sometimes your life situation might not be the best or might not be right.
Yeah, it could be a sore subject for some couples. You want to come off as supportive, but then you don't want the other person to resent you because you don't want to do a thing. So it's this strange balance that you have to strike.
I think they raised it a few times on Next Gen, I think, but they never really went anywhere with it. Whereas Deep Space Nine, they've actually taken it a bit further.
Are you talking about the dedication the job requires?
Yeah, just the sort of your career and stuff.
It makes sense here. You're stationed somewhere. You're stuck. You're anchored.
Yeah, it's the classic like military wife sort of deal.
Yeah, go off to a strange place and then live here.
Yeah, move around every couple of years or something.
And it's compounded because they have a child, and
Yeah,
that always makes it more difficult.
That's my first criticism.
Ooh, let's hear it.
Where is their child?
Running about,
Where?
Places.
Just on the station somewhere.
Yeah.
She's not tall enough to reach the airlock controls, so I'm sure she's fine.
Odo shapeshifted into a crib.
It's just weird that their child was not in this episode at all.
Do the seasons correspond with the years that have passed in the show?
Yeah, each season is a year.
Okay, I was thinking maybe the actor grew up too much and they didn't want her on screen?
Well, they probably didn't want her on screen because there's really strict laws about working hours for young kids in movies
Right.
and stuff. If they're very young, then that's why they always use twins or triplets.
Yeah, they could split up the workload.
Yeah. So I imagine maybe it's just a hassle to have Molly O'Brien there, but it's just weird that they're going to bed, waking up the next day, no child.
She's self-reliant. They don't need to keep a constant eye on her.
That's not parenting. My other criticism is a weird one. Quark refers to Deep Space Nine as DS9, which I don't know if that's a criticism, but it stood out to me.
Why?
Well, because it's an English abbreviation, which I guess it's a translation of whatever he said in Ferengi, but I don't know, it's just weird. It doesn't even save time to say.
It didn't catch my ear, but it is weird now that you pointed out.
Yeah, they probably didn't even think about it. I mean, I'm sure they all call the show DS9 when they were making it. That's what everyone kind of calls it. But I think that's the first time they've used the abbreviation on the show. I might be wrong on that. I don't know. It stuck out to me. It was weird. Or maybe it wasn't. Maybe I'm just...
Well, if it made you feel weird, that's valid.
Maybe a really weird feeling. I didn't know what to do. I was sweating.
Walking around aimlessly.
Let's look in my eyes. A loss of appetite. Loss of height.
Insomnia.
Consumption.
Was that the extent of your criticisms?
Yeah, there's not much to criticize. It's a fun episode. I mean, a lot of it's played for laughs anyway, so you can't really pick it apart because it's sort of silly by construction.
Right.
Did you have anything?
The one thing I had was that her name, what is it again?
Grilka.
So when Grilka reaches Deep Space Nine or DS9, shouldn't she be closely observed as the widow of a man who was recently murdered on that station? She just easily reaches Quark with a weapon.
Well, it's a knife. They're allowed to carry knives around.
Okay. And perhaps she was thoroughly questioned when she boarded.
Klingons always have knives. I don't know. What would Odo do, though? Oh, the brother and then the wife of the guy who died are coming to meet Quark. Big deal. Odo has no sympathy.
And he did warn him. He knew his story was false and gave him a chance to retract it.
I mean, I guess any Klingon is a liability in that sense, as they are all pretty kind of kill crazy. But I guess it would be kind of racist if they just kept hassling Klingons.
I don't think Odo is above blatant racism.
Well, true. With these guys, he's probably fairly sure that they're only going to murder Quark. So in a sense, that's justice of a kind to Odo.
Yeah, but he seems like the kind of person to encourage racial profiling.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I'm sure it's on his rules of obedience. If you look guilty, you are. We had a fake rule of acquisition this time, number 286. When Morn leaves, it's all over.
I really enjoyed that. I didn't catch the number. It didn't register in my head that it would be a fake rule. So when he says Morn, I thought, wait a minute, and then it suddenly clicks. Oh,
Yeah,
he went above.
it's one past the end. Morn went home with the lady.
You sound surprised.
Well, maybe I am the one who is profiling people.
We've already had Dax talk up how great Morn is.
Yeah, that it's good that people in the 24th century are more open-minded than I am. I try to be pretty open-minded, but he's very well. I don't want to say he looks like a big butt.
Yeah, he's a big walking butt.
Well, that's fair enough. I mean, maybe he's actually kind of a catch. This is really harsh. I don't want to be a bad guy.
You must find Morn attractive, otherwise you are obviously racist.
Oh my god. Okay, well, I'll get his picture and put it up next to my bed.
Train yourself.
Every morning I'll wake up, give him a peck on the cheek.
I, Portponky, am in love with Morn.
Okay, I never said I would love him. I just said that I would learn to appreciate his body.
Okay.
It has natural butt beauty.
There's an earthy quality to him.
You mean he actually looks like he's made of wet clay?
Yes.
So, do you have a quote of the show?
You can't buy respect, brother. I like when characters say lines against the umbrella traits of their species.
I think I always enjoy it when any character is trying to be better. Just trying to be more than they're supposed to be, in a sense.
Yeah, trying to be a better version of themselves.
Yeah, just striving for something. I really like the fact that Quark turned up at the end. And actually had a plan. It was a pretty bad plan, to be honest. Quark even says so at the end, that he thought it was a lucky win.
But it was fitting for Quark.
Yeah, it was a clever scheme.
Yeah, to try to manipulate them in that way.
Well, yeah, play to your strengths.
I did worry when he showed up with a weapon. I thought, how can this end in a satisfying way? And I thought it was something stupid where the Klingon somehow trips and falls on his weapon, so we have a repeat. I thought that would be so stupid. They can't do that. And then what they came up with is really good.
Actually, that would have been really funny if he tripped and fallen on his bat'leth.
If he shows up drunk to the hearing, I don't know what they would call it, if they would call it a hearing.
A personal combat trial or something.
Yeah. Shows up drunk because he knows, well, he thinks he will be victorious. And then he ends up falling on his own weapon. I guess there would be a nice irony there.
I think the ending they went with is a lot better, but I would have liked to have seen that. All the other Klingons are just looking at him like, are you cursed or something? So, can you buy respect?
Nope.
Yeah, I would reckon you can't.
It's like when someone actively tries to impress you and how that does the opposite.
Yeah. You have to earn respect. You have to learn to respect Morn's body.
That's your duty.
Yeah. There's a little scene at the end where Rom wants to hear the story again. At first I thought it was a little goofy because he was there.
Yeah.
But then I figured they're Ferengi, they maybe have a different kind of culture. Maybe reminiscing is more of a social thing. But it's kind of...
That could be it.
Yeah, it's kind of cute how Rom seems to really idolize Quark in a way.
Yeah, before I would have characterized it as just envy, but now I see that it's more about respect and idolizing him.
Yeah, he's his big brother hero. He's a good businessman. Rom seems to be not so good.
There's a quote I wanted to talk about, and that's when Cisco, I believe it's Cisco, says, "If there's anything else I can do, let me know." And anytime I've used a variation of that sentiment, it's never acted on. And I was curious if that's been your experience.
Yeah, that's kind of a politeness. You say that, but what you're not saying is all the criteria around it. If there's anything else that I can do reasonably without too much expense to myself, then kind of ask me about it if it's a good time. I don't know. Maybe I'm being overly cynical.
Well, it sounds nice, and everyone is eager to say it, but no one, from my experience, actually reaches out once that's been offered. I just overanalyze everything Cisco says because I like to imagine him as this crazy manipulator and how he carefully chooses everything he says because he wants everyone to be his pawn. That's just my headcanon, though.
You're probably kind of accurate. He's always been in the thick of it, and he loves to just muck about with people.
We've seen bits where he's blatantly doing that, but I like to think he's more aggressive about it. It's just fun.
In a way, he's kind of similar to Quark. They're both good diplomats. One's a politician more and one's a businessman, but they both use diplomacy to get what they want.
Yeah, they're both skilled at keeping an outcome in mind and doing what they can to reach it.
Oh, here's a little bit of trivia that I might as well pointlessly bring up. When they were filming this episode, Stephen Hawking visited the set.
Oh, why?
Because he likes Star Trek, I guess.
Good reason as any.
I've heard he has a passing interest in physics. And science fiction probably touches on that a little.
Just a bit.
Yeah, so there's a good photograph of Quark and Dagor, the dishonorable Klingon bad guy, posing with the Hawkman.
That's a thing that I guess happened and
Yep.
is cool for some people.
For the people involved, it was a thing. Should we just end it here and go on to the next episode?
Yeah, I think we should.
Okay.